Alright, good morning everyone. We're going to get started this morning. You'll stand for a pledge followed by prayer. Or prayer followed by pledge.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day you've given us, and we offer prayers of thanksgiving for the rains that you have sent, and for having restored our springs before. And Lord, we just pray that you would continue to send rain in abundance, that our other creeks and springs be restored, and our wells, all the ponds filled. We thank you, Lord, for how you work. We ask your blessing on our nation, on our state, county. We ask, Lord, that you would bless us in this meeting today. Grant us wisdom and knowledge that we need. For us in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
Meeting order at 9:03 for the full court. I'm going to be present this morning for Commissioner's Court. Today is Monday, July 28th. Regular call meeting here being held at the Fire and Rescue Center for us this morning. We got grand jury selection this morning going on, so some folks are going to have to go to grand jury here in a little bit. We'll get working on it. Departmental meetings. We have a report from Brett Allen, County Agent. It's attached. Aging Center, we had last meeting. County Attorney this morning. Auditor. Clerk. Ricky has a report attached for you for the month of June. Community Center, nothing there that I don't know the agenda about Community Center. Constable, Airwood. Nothing from Constable. How was yesterday's turnout?
Had a good turnout. Served about 150 plays, but we raised about $2,000.
Awesome. That was the benefit and empty all of ours. We got homeless flooding model the other day, so thanks to Constable Airwood and Sheriff Code and District Director, that whole crew for organizing and putting that together. Tissue Center. Ward, there you are. Hey, you're on my calendar. I'm going to look today. See who we visit.
Yes, sir.
What do you got for us?
So, ADP 424 and Kern County 425.
Generator.
We have a backup generator on site, connected. We actually just got the estimate for part. It's something a magnet type of deal to the generator. So we were sent a key for us.
We spoke last Wednesday, but they're having generator issues. You got to get a part, so they brought a temporary one in and everything and stuff. He was just letting us know. Any questions for the warden? All right. Thanks, sir. EMC.
Two things. We got an upcoming event for Kinney County's going to have a host their little emergency scenario, and we've been invited. So if you want to go, just let me know and I can schedule leadership to go. And as for our LETC, we're going to be doing it around the first week of September, if not the second week. So there's too many conflicts of calendar, so I've had to push back to the first 2 weeks.
Okay. Thanks, sir. EMS.
Only thing I have to report is we started using a new app for all our employees. It's called Windows, and what that is, it's an app that our protocols are uploaded into. It's easier for us to navigate the protocols as opposed to trying to find what page we're looking for in a 200-page PDF. We just type in what we look for, and it'll bring it up Also, the main reason we looked into it is it does our drug calculations for us. So it takes out any chance of error. So we pick whatever drug we want to give, put it in the patient's weight, and it will do the calculation for us. So when we do drifts, stuff like that, where there's a lot of math involved, it takes that chance of human error out of it. Other than that, everything's been running smoothly. Any questions for me?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Grant updates.
Yes, good morning, everybody. I wanted to let you know that all of the financial status reports we required were submitted back to all of them. I mean, the fund for the body shield, that was the final, that was $10,999.95. That was for 13 body shields. So the final FSR was submitted. A closeout reports will be done, and they're not due till the 15th of September. But we'll do those early and get those submitted. Stone Garden was submitted for the months of May and June. Payment for April was late coming in from the state, so we had to wait and file May and June together. The School Resource Officer, June split file. A payment was received this morning for the month of May. It was $6,446.71. And the good news is the financial status report on our full LS grant was submitted last Tuesday. That was submitted for the month of December through June for 7 months. The amount that we submitted for was $1,642,000. There's I think $800 and something left that we filed for, but that has been filed. That's with the personnel vendor. That was a lot of months worth of data and a lot of work put in. I do want to say thanks to Cheryl for reviewing it. She double checked every single number that went in, so there shouldn't be any problem getting that money back in. That leaves only July and August on this first grant. We do have an estimate for next year. I say estimate, it probably will not change, but we haven't received an actual notice yet. So I will get that to you so that you can look at what is in each category.
Okay.
Last Monday night we had, of course, we had a violent thunderstorm, and there was damage done to the military grade camera and the cables on Tower 8. Tower climbers were here. Philip Nicup had people here for 3 days. They moved cables from Tower C over to that one to test it. So we will get an estimate on how much it's going to cost to repair that camera, and then we will need to replace the cables. He has sent information to get quotes. Also, all of the cameras on those towers were put on our insurance policy by Donetta when she was here, so they should all be covered by insurance. So I've asked him, and I'll remind Tom to get that information in to the auditor to file the insurance claim. The cables are not covered. We will need to replace those cables, and they are custom-made military-grade cables. So that will need to be replaced. Other than that, that's all I have today.
That was Tower 8, Ms. Westbrook?
Yes,
Okay.
Tower 8. But the radar was not damaged. There were no burn marks on the tower. There were no singe marks, so I believe that the electrical strike came up through the bottom. Now they use very, very large PVC pipes to run down in there that water is also put in there to I don't understand how that works, but it's so that the water is in those holes. When they put those cables in and put those towers in, they run additional holes and cables down in there, and each hole with lightning rods. There's also a lightning rod on the top of the tower, but it still took out the camera and the cables on that tower.
Okay.
You said it was like an aerial burst. It wasn't the ground up.
Yeah, it was through the air, so it really wasn't right. It was really
amounts to all the FSRs are submitted, body ships been submitted, stone burners been submitted, school resource officer was received, OLS has that status report to be 7 months of reimbursement there. We're in our July and August, the last 2 months of OLS, and Tower A was damaged down on the southwest end of the county due to electrical fault.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Ms. Westbrook.
You're welcome.
Grant, ladies. Indigent healthcare, nothing. County judge, I'll be out tomorrow in Temple at a meeting for the NRCS soil conservation folks for the changes that are being implemented or the new for funding for the dam sites. There's a workshop tomorrow. Ms. Catherine's going to go, and I'll attend as well. So I'll be out tomorrow, and I'll be the rest of the week should be here. Justice of the Peace, Library, Road and Bridge, Life Speed. Sheriff, we got forces on Sheriff.
What time you got? Good morning. Who's got first? Mike Carlson, about the insurance for this stuff that happened down for Towers. Right now we got 17 in jail. Being transported back up to the state pen. As soon as we get those out, we got more. Fill those spaces. Going up. We got some mandatory training coming up. It's going to be in Valley, Del Rio, in charge of the child abuse investigation and crime scene investigation. So it's coming to a better time. Came back from the sheriff conference. We got over House Bill 30 approved. It's the Valley Strong Act passed some years ago. From a 10-page bill to a 35-page bill. We require county training, miles, EMS, fire and rescue, etc. All we have to get together. We have to have tabletop exercises once a year, once every other year, and an actual live drill, either at the school or someplace we might have an active shooter. So we're working on that. But they're going to be in-depth, time-consuming training that we're going to have to do. So it's going to include school, mayor, judge, commissioners, city council, sheriff's office, everybody that possibly needs you involved in a active shooter type situation. That'd be like DPS or working on that. We are required to have a mutual aid agreement with all the surrounding counties and the something over the towns. I know we have a mutual aid agreement with the fire department over there. It's a head white. Where's that? I know we have to have it right, so I'm trying to let it go by some.
We have some with the law.
Okay.
And then we have one with the family service out of the Valley. Okay. We have some.
So we have one with Alberta units.
So we're going to have all the surrounding counties, or DPS, FBI, whoever could possibly be involved, we have to have that. All this takes effect September 1st. Training, alert training, courses online work. I have to mandate my guys to take a little time consuming 3 hours at a time, but we got to get it done.
What's alert?
Like the work we did at the school, training cases, sure, stuff online for telecommunications, incident command control, etc. And the hardest part about it is you got to listen to the questions. I took the free test, answered 14 out of 15 correct. Watching the video, did the whole thing in 3 hours, really got 14 out of 15. So, there's room for error. And that's really about it right now. I've got to send Daniel off. Right, he's having problems with. He's a good dispatcher. He's really good dispatcher. He's having problems passing the test. So I've got to send him to a class that takes place October 4th through the 15th of the 4th. Right through the whole week. All over. There's a support we don't have permission for the info and for laws. So that kind of goes forward. Other than that, everything's status quo. It's slowed down quite a bit. everything seems to be down south in the county, still gets more close, having pursuits, has to be back in here. Any questions? All right, thank you.
Treasury report this morning, nothing. Tax assessment, treasury, we got some submitted handouts overall regarding investments and investment funds. Alright, is there anyone present this morning to speak to the commissioners, the rest of the commissioners report this morning? Any item or any item on the agenda?
Item
Okay.
item J, and that connection. You've been having trouble. We installed cover years ago. And you've been having trouble with the cover that we're going to wash out. Never had the county help you do any kind of work. I know you might 40 years or longer. And I think the county should get involved and help you put their covers back in. These covers were put in by the county at one time. They were put in, I guess, current in the creek. So it was put in this current in the creek. They know that. So I'm making over item J to go out and have it myself go to help you put in these covers.
The polish and everything, we're just going to rearrange them, clean them up.
Right.
Back to the road.
I actually bought two more culverts. They're 6x8 culverts, big round culverts. And originally the county only bought us 4, putting in 4. And the way I set them because I was good for going to Equinox, and I was paying this dozer operator. We actually got the culverts out of the river. And anyway, I set them in line with the flow, and that did make the road
have a curb in it, and I understood that they couldn't get their equipment in there, because they did use our police sheet. And it's been a county road since 1980. Anyways, make a long story short, when they did wash out again, I bought 2 more culverts just to make the road wider and safer. Still, they don't have anything to do with it. I don't know, I just feel like.
We just want to get that corrected.
Mr. Thomas made a motion to help put the culverts back in and repair and backfill the road work and stuff. They're on the county road up there. Is there a second on the motion? Second. All right. Any further discussion? Any further discussion or questions or anything? Item J this morning, I jumped around the right quick. Anybody? Yes, sir.
Culverts, that crossing is being on our property, on the bidder property. I asked Joe a while back, I said, Joe, are we the only ones in the county that have to repair a crossing that's not on their property? And he said, well, yeah. It'd be nice to have to look up.
Okay. Any further discussion? Alright, and that's we're gonna add back the 2 that you bought, or those 2 are already there?
They're all there.
They're all there. Okay. Alright. I'll oversee the culvert work and help rebuild the road work, backfilling. Alright. Motion's on the table. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Alright. You can go if you want to, but they'll be out there. He'll coordinate with you.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you very much, Joe.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Alright. I have another item. I'm going to jump around right quick.
Can I just say something? I'd like to ask Mr. Mike Ford if he wants to introduce a new city administrator.
Second city administrator, Reed Phillips. You started last week.
Speak up right quick, Ford.
Alright.
Speak up.
So it's our new city administrator, Bridget. Started last week.
Bridget.
Bridget, yes.
Your last name?
Yeah.
B.
Okay.
Welcome.
Yep.
Bridget Villa.
Yes.
City manager. Alright. Thank you, Ford. Alright, next time we're going to jump around on right quick so Ricky can get back to jury duty. Grand jury summary this morning. Item E on your agenda. You want to talk about that a little bit? Just a little bit about that. Discuss, disapprove air conditioning, heating options in the district courtroom jury room. That'll be a little siren in the jury room.
Correct.
Correct.
Good morning. So Monday we had a jury trial. You know, most of our jury trials go pretty late. Monday we got out around 9:30 at night, and the jury room back there where all the jurors sit, the jurors have been saying for some time that this was very hot back there. You know, they have to keep the door closed and they're in there while they're doing all this deliberating and everything like that. They were under the impression that the vents come from Diane's office, but if Diane's having to lower her AC down so low in order to get that far end cooled down, it's probably freezing them out in their office. So we want to find out about possibly getting a mini split put in there, or we can help when we have these jurors to help cool it down a little bit in there. That was the biggest complaint.
The units actually sit above the jury in the storage room, the office room, and so it should be nearby.
Yeah, I mean they were complaining a lot. It was really hot in there. Yeah. Thanks.
No action today. We have to investigate it. That's right. So let's put on there and we'll just look into it. Alright, so no action on item E. this morning is discussion only. It's an overview of the ESP, ESF plan, and add cybersecurity plan on there. Cybersecurity will also just have an overview, first discussion of everything. We've been working on this for a while.
Okay, what I'm handing you guys is a summary for the cybersecurity plan. The first page, the second page is it came strictly from the table of contents from the cybersecurity plan, so you can kind of see what was covered. And then the third page has to do with the emergency operation plan, just what an EOP is, what an ESF is, and I have a few slides to show y'all because this week I'll be sending you guys the cybersecurity plan and the policies to look over. And so it's about 93 pages long. So I just kind of wanted to give you a little overview of what it's going to be about. Okay? But if y'all have any questions or anything like that, once you receive the plan, my contact info is up on the last page. And if y'all want to edit, revise, change anything, let me know. And I'll talk, relay the info with the core team, and we can make changes.
Okay. So you'll send the packet out later this week?
Yeah. Correction thing.
I have that back on the agenda on the 11th. Okay. Alright, while she's getting set up on that, item B, we'll just table that. Make a motion to table the burn ban. Everybody good with that? I'll make a motion to table the burn ban. Second by Mr. Tabo. We're very fortunate and blessed, so all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carried, and table the burn ban. You ready?
Yes, sir. Okay, I'm going to start off with the overview of the cybersecurity plan. The purpose of it is just to safeguard the county system's data and infrastructure from cyber threats while ensuring compliance with Texas law. The four main objectives are to prevent unauthorized access and data loss, ensure continuity of public services, comply with state cybersecurity mandates, and establish clear roles, controls, and response procedures. So, here are a few of the legal requirements. The remainder will be in the plan. But the state, all of this is fell under the state and local cybersecurity grant program. And so under that grant program, when writing the plan, we had to adhere to the 42 cybersecurity objectives, which was in the Texas cybersecurity framework, and also Texas Government Code 2054, and several other codes within 2054. House Bill 3834, which mandates cybersecurity training, which the county is already doing, and also we use the Texas Department of Information Resources Security Standards Catalog. It provides the required technical and procedural safeguards, and that was super, super long. There's lots of safeguards, controls, objectives in this plan, and I divided it up into sections, as you saw on the table of contents. And so at the end of each of the sections, I refer to the codes that were used or the standards and okay. Plan review and revision contributors. So these are the people who helped just with input, review, revisions. The county judge helped plan and policies. IT lead plan and policies. The county attorney of policies, and he's currently reviewing the plan. The county EMC would help with the plan, and county grant writer. Okay, this is the table of contents that I gave you guys, and that's this is everything that was covered, headings, subheadings there. I'm just going to briefly go tell you there's like 14 sections, including the appendix, and all the policies I put in the appendix. There's 7 policies. Okay, so section 1 is the introduction. It defines the purpose, scope, and authority. 2 are assignments of responsibility, like for IT leadership, department heads, elected officials, other parts of the plan to talk about employees and contractors, specifics for them. Section 3 is risk assessment and inventory, and it outlines how the county identifies and documents risks, assets, and critical systems. Section 4 goes over cybersecurity controls, and it describes protective measures like firewalls, encryption, and secure configurations. Section 5 goes over detection and monitoring. Details how threats are identified through real-time system monitoring and alerts. These 2 sections are a little bit more lengthy because it's basically sixes the framework for containing and recovering from cybersecurity incidents. So in this, like you have like your incident response team, and again, so then you have they have other responsibilities, and all that's laid out for them. And I'll show you like a little at a glance in just a second. And then 7 was the business continuity and disaster recovery. Like, are we going to get things back running quickly if something goes down? This is just kind of, a glance inside the plan. The top 2 were taken from the incident response section. As you can see, like roles and responsibilities for the incident response team. You have your IT department, county judge, EMC, the department heads, elected officials, county attorney, and a few others. It also includes like reporting requirements, when it should be reported, to who it should be reported to, the DIR contact information. It's really specific. The plan is pretty specific. And then D is just taken from 8 of the continuity section, and the plan covers like public focus to like communication. Making sure the community knows what's going on, but you can't give too much information at times, so it covers all that in that section. Sections 8, 9, and 10, security awareness and training. which I've heard, the county's doing a good job on this already. Just training employees on cybersecurity awareness. And 9 is compliance and legal requirements. This section lists the laws, policies, and frameworks the county adheres to and how compliance is tracked. 10 is community awareness and response. Promotes communication, transparency, and engagement with the community on cyber threats. And the last 3 sections, security monitoring and maintenance. It explains regular review of systems and software updates. Plan maintenance and evaluation. Evaluation establishes a schedule for the annual review, testing, and improvement of this plan, which just want to reiterate the annual review. That's really important because things change. Like within the cyber world, technology, things change so fast, and so that's very important that it's reviewed yearly, if not more than that. The minimum yearly. The last one is cybersecurity policy summaries. I just put a summary of each policy there, and then, like I said before, the full policies are in the appendix. And these are the policies that have been written and need to be reviewed by you guys. And if you have any on these 2 questions, concerns, let me know. And the judge and attorney and the IT lead and I went over the policies. But if you have questions, let me know. Information security, acceptable use, access control, data classification and handling, password management, incident response, and vendor security for the center. This is why the annual review matters. Like I said before, cyber threats evolve, plans must adapt, is required by law, accountability purposes, and just good practice. Okay, so the next steps for commissioners, I'll send you all the plan and the policies if you would review them, and then contact me for questions next meeting. Okay, approve the cybersecurity plan and policies. You all, supported the training and stuff, and I know you'll do so in the future, and with funding. And just make sure it's maintained and documented. So the emergency operation plan is a little bit shorter, although.
Ms. Amanda, can I just say something?
Yeah.
This grant does require that all county employees be aware of the plan, the training, and the policies as well, and their roles with all of this cybersecurity.
And there's going to be training.
We will be scheduling those trainings. We have a meeting with the judge to see how we're going to get every county employee trained before September 15th.
Okay, so the Kinney County Emergency Operation Plan, which includes the basic plan and emergency support functions, it's complete, and the county is in compliance. And it's been sent to TDM, approved, so that's good. Had a lot of help on this one. This one was already written. We just had to go over it, do a lot of revisions to make it specific for our county. All right. So an emergency operation plan is a detailed framework that outlines how the county prepares for, responds to, recovers from, and mitigates emergencies and disasters. It establishes coordination among agencies, defines responsibilities, ensures a unified response to incidents like natural disasters, public health emergencies, or man-made crises. Okay, so the Kinney County core EOP team consists of Judge Schuster, Richard Moore, the EMC, Nick Morgan, the EMS director, Armando Garcia, the chief deputy, and Philip Garcia, the fire chief. They helped update the basic emergency operations plan. So what's the difference between a basic emergency operations plan and an ESFs? Your basic emergency operation plan is the who, what, when, where, and how of emergency management, and it's the foundational section that provides an overview of the jurisdiction's emergency management system, and it sets the stage for the rest of the EOP by explaining the general policies, roles, responsibilities, and coordination structures used during any emergency, regardless of hazard type. So that's about 55 pages long, and then ESFs are more specific in So, ESF is emergency support functions, that's what it stands for, are key components of the EOP. There's 13 of them. We have 13 in Kinney County, and you have a coordinating agency who's in charge of the ESF, and then supporting agencies. And so these are the 13. Transportation is number 1. The Sheriff's Department is in charge of transportation, and as well as communication, number 2, and number 13, which is public safety. Public Works is number 3. The judge and road and bridge supervisor are the coordinating agencies for that one, and Mr. Montalvo, he came to our meeting on that one and gave some input there as well. Number 4 is firefighting. The fire chief is the coordinating agency for that. Emergency management and mass care, EMC support coordinator. Logistics is the EMC and judge. Public health, EMS director. Oil and hazardous materials, the fire chief. Agriculture and natural resources, the extension agent. Energy is the judge, and public information is the public information officer and the judge. And this is just this is in the binder, and it's just a page showing like transportation, who the coordinating agency is, and underneath it the supporting agencies. Like for transportation, supporting Brackett ISD, TxDOT, Southwest Area Regional Transit District, and the consulate. So each, and I had lots of help and input with this, and I appreciated that. Everybody was so helpful, and we had probably around 20 different meetings, so they're probably tired of seeing me some of them. Okay, so I created a dashboard which after work the kinks out for some reason. When I send it sometimes, it's hard to, some of the links are being tricky, so I'll get that worked out and send it back. But basically, you click on any of these links, just it's for a digital copy for everybody to have, for the core team to have. The like basic plans at the top, and each of the ESFs, the entire plan for each ESF is there. You can click on, I made a checklist for each one of them because, you know, some of the pages could be like 10 pages long, but the checklist is kind of like an at a glance. It's like, just kind of, okay, these are the things we need to do. it'd be good to like look over those, monthly. You never know what's going to happen. Some sort of disaster. So it's nice just to have a checklist to look over and think, okay, this is what we do. Helpful links. We came up with an emergency phone tree. There was a lot of collaboration on that one. And there's an organization chart, which the EMC came up with. And then the coordinating supporting agency, that's the slide that you saw. Okay, so it's been approved by the core EOP team, and the judge is on that team. Like I said, the coordinating agencies, each of the plans went by and got their signature on each ESF that they were the coordinating agency for. And Steve Harris from TITA, he's approved that and said it could be uploaded into the VOG system. And I provided, this is a emergency management plan, here it is, and I provided one of these for each of the core EOP team members, and I gave digital copies. I sent digital copies out as well. Yeah, that is it.
That was a lot of work.
That's it.
I had to.
Alright, again, that was just the first kind of reading and overview of that. She'll get the digital copies out to you all for review and read. If you do have any questions, you can reach out to her or myself. And if you feel like changing or whatever, but that was a pretty good collaboration with a lot of people over the last couple of months, several months, getting that all together. And it's be compliant with state mandates and stuff, what we're working on and so forth. So.
And Judge, these are the types of plans that we have to have updated annually in order to qualify for different grants out there. So it is really important to keep up with them.
All right, thank you, Ms. Frerich. We'll go to item C this morning. Discuss and approve the renewed interlocal agreement for 911 public safety answering points services between Middle Rio Grande Development Council 911 and Kinney County for the fiscal year 2026 and 2027. This is just an agreement that we agree to every other year. It's a 2-year agreement, but it's with the Middle Rio Grande Development Council, and kind of laid out in the first couple of 4 bullets here. The Middle Rio Grande Development Council is a regional planning commission and political subdivision of the state of Texas, organized and operating under Texas Regional Planning Act of 1965 as amended, Texas Local Government Code Chapter 391. The RPC has been developed a strategic plan to establish and operate 911 service strategic plan in State Planning Region 24. The Commission of the State Emergency Communications Commission has approved the current strategic plan. The County of Kinney is the local government that operates public safety awareness points, PSAPs, referred to, that assist in implementing the strategic plan as approved by the Commission. The Commission is authorized by the Health Safety Code, Chapter 771, as the oversight and funding authority for Regional Planning Commission implementing 911 services. The contract for 911 services between the Commission and the RPC requires the RPC to execute interlocal agreements with local governments relating to the planning, development, operation, and provision of 911 service, the use of wireless and wireless 911 fees, and equalization surcharge appropriated to Commission and granted to the RPC 911 funds and adherence to applicable law. I don't want to read the rest of the 11 pages to you, but that's where we're at this morning on that one. And again, this is just an interlocal between the county and Middle Rio Grande Development. This is authorizing Middle Rio Grande to continue our 911 service to be the main operator, caregiver, so forth of our 911.
County Judge, may I please?
Yes.
I'm Mediana with the Middle River and Development Council. I'm just here to see if any questions come up. Basically what it is a 2-year signature interlocal agreement between CSAC, State Emergency Communications, and the equipment that is established at the County Sheriff's Office for 911 purposes. You also have a listing of all of the equipment that's on there. So basically it's for their use for 911 purposes. And every 2 years we require interlocal agreement. So if you have any questions that I might be able to answer, I'll move.
Got a motion by Commissioner Ward, second by Commissioner Montalvo.
Thank you.
Any further discussion on item C this morning? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carried, unanimous. Alright, item D this morning, discuss and approve the purchase of 4 CyberPower M1100XL medical grade UPS for emergency siren system. Is Joey still here? No.
Yeah. So.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there you go. Okay, I see. You're sitting over there. Alright, what do you got?
We're going to battery backup.
Battery backup.
Each box of the siren system that we worked on last week, or maybe 2 weeks ago, we're going to try and get in the regular habit of cleaning them out, going in there with a blower, vacuum of some sort, and one of them at the Fort Park area, over there by the old teen center, now the gym. That, I don't know if y'all remember, the sirens went off, kind of added up a little bit, kind of mass confusion. That was basically because Chad just went ahead and it got Q to take a look at it, why it didn't go off that first, the day before, around noon. We were stationed at each area, kind of waiting for 12 o'clock to come around, and this tower, or this main city tower went off, the city hall went off, the mud, or I call it mud, the fort area didn't go off. We were kind of concerned, but Q realized it was something electrical, something simple. He got it going, and so now we're on equal. Everything's going off. It's right, the right time, around noon. Everything's synchronized. These boxes that CyberPower, they're pretty big boxes, but they're gonna power goes off for whatever reason. Each side box will run for these, I'll say 2 hours. Touch base with that on the exact timing, but more than enough time for it to be replaced. We go regularly and clean out these boxes and use that. That's all they're for.
Okay, and they were almost $700 a piece, maybe. That's all right. Alright, so we just put it on here that
I think it says 4, right?
yes.
I don't know if deals, just in case something goes out, we have an extra. I haven't touched base with that. I would assume that'd be the reason for 4.
Alright, any further discussion? Typically, anything that's done on the fort, with their siren, the fort pays for, then the agreement kind of between the city and the county is we split it 50-50. But any repairs or anything like that, we do the 2 sirens that are in the city. So fort, Bud takes care of the siren on the fort, and the county and the city kind of want to share expenses of the other 2. I did talk to Chad a little bit the other day about potentially trying to look at maybe doing it, seeing if there's a grant money or something we want to maybe get a siren installed. That would coordinate these sirens up there. So, it wouldn't have to be a real big one, but maybe get something out of maybe where their little water plant is. Maybe get $3 grand or 8 people to hold in for us. And then they have electricity right there from their water plant. So that's why it's on the agenda to approve purchase of those 4 items, those power packs. say aye. Aye. Those same sign opposed. Motion carried unanimously. Item E was already discussed. We can look into that one. Item F this morning. This is to approve a motion to amend the court order. Item G from May 27th, 2025, and authorize the final payment of $51,388.17 to Waterman Construction and remodeling of Kinney County Community Center to be paid from grant matching. If you remember back on May 27th, we authorized the payment of $38,023.69. That was an error on my part. That was the retainage that would keep her for things that weren't done. That we agreed not be done. So the difference balance that we truly owe Waterman is $13,364.48. $13,364.48. So it says motion to amend the court order from May 27th. So I'll make the motion that we amend the court order from May 27th to authorize the balance difference payment of $13,364.48 to Waterman Construction with funds being paid out of grant match. This should take care of everything with the water. The motion made by me, second by Mr. McCall. Any further discussion or questions on that? So again, the balance there, the difference owed to the Waterman is $13,364.48. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carried unanimously. So we get that taken care of. Item G, discuss and approve road use agreement between Kinney County and TRC Companies Incorporated, attending legal review for TRC Companies, and authorizing the judge to sign on our behalf. I have it here this morning. We sent this, met with Mr. Briscoe the other day and everything. This is for the compressor station going on being built on Anacostia Lane with the first curve. 2.4 miles or so down. I don't know how far it is through. That very first curve, there's Kinder Morgan pipeline and Gulf Coast Express pipeline. That's what they refer to this line as. It's a 500-mile pipeline that transports natural gas from the Permian Basin to the Gulf Coast. They're wanting pipelines already there and established. This is not part of the new Jacob pipeline coming in. This is the current line that's there, and they're wanting to put a compressor station there. So they wanted a road use agreement. We drafted one very similar to what we had the other day with Carl's LLC and stuff out here for that road use agreement. Plus, there'll be another road use agreement, most likely on Anacostia Lane for the compressor station that they're proposing at the end of Anacostia Lane for the pipeline gas. So, with that being said, like I say, this went out to them, TRC companies and stuff. This discussion just began. So, I have not heard back from them. This was early last week. I haven't heard back from them whether they were changing this, agreeing to this, or whatever. So, today's motion will be just to approve the road use agreement between Kinney County and TRC companies, pending legal review from TRC companies, and pending legal review from Haley Olson, Mr. Briscoe's proposed, and authorizing me to sign it once the agreement is agreed. Or something that I don't like, or something that they're really adamant about, that makes me uncomfortable, I'll read it back to the This one will. This was at the first corner at Anacostia Lane. We went there in the first left-hand curve. We're going to make have an assessment. Not an easement, but an entrance. I was trying to say an entrance off of Anacostia Lane right there to the west, going back to the west a little bit, and the section's going to sit right back in there. Yes, good chance. Which was red. Yeah, but it doesn't have any. No, not yet. I need him to do it. Yes. Yeah. This is a draft. motion also address it that authorizes me to sign. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carried unanimously. So we'll see what we get back from PRC on that one. Item H this morning is discuss and approve disapprove interlocal agreement with RNCS. Interlocal agreement with the Oasis River Authority, including Kinney County and the Texas Water Development Board Flood Infrastructure Fund, the Oasis River Basin Study, including Kinney County and the Oasis Watershed in the floodplain map update. High hazard dam risk assessment, low water crossing prioritization, and early flood warning system. Cost not to exceed $166,380, and this begins on the 10-year payout, 0% interest. So our annual cost of this over the next 10 years to participate is $16,638. We've talked about this several times already. Again, this is the U.S. River Authority applied for a grant from Texas Water Development Board. Received a grant that does have some matching funds in it. And what they've done is 23 counties of the Oasis River Authority, Oasis River Authority services are addressing 23 counties, the drainage area of the Oasis. That come out and it's a per capita charge that they're charging to come up with matching funds for the research and development. As the gentleman spoke to us earlier, last meeting was updating the mapping and so forth, just keeping them current and such would be a huge help. But also then not only having it paper form, but also having it electronic form, but also being able to use and do different scenarios where they can throw out a different situation. Big rain here, how would it react here in computer models and so forth like that? That would be a huge help for areas along the Oasis River Authority boundary areas and stuff. So we tabled it, as you remember from last time, that's why I was back on here today. This is a cost share program. Not every county will probably participate in it, but I think most of them would. I don't know. My feeling on it is like the next 5 to 10 years, is it going to be a huge asset to us? Probably minimum, but I think in the next 10 to 20 years, as populations grow, different subdivisions get built, different things change north of us, northeast of us, and so forth, and that affect our watershed and our water down here, as far as the drainage and so forth. Maybe possibly we can get some funding down the road by having this through grants and so forth that would help with like dam structures and things like that or something like that. So I think instant return, probably not. The folks that are going to sit at this table after the 4 or 5 of us are gone, no longer here, it may be a huge benefit and asset to them to have that. That's, I'm saying, like 10, 15, 20 years from now, and keep this thing updating and going. That's kind of my gut feeling on it. It's a significant expense. It's $16,000 a year. You know that going in, and you just budget for it each year. The Oasis River Authority, we've done quite a bit of work with them. The grant ladies have worked with them quite a bit on different projects and so forth. Group projects as well as just individual for our county as well.
You mentioned that some of the counties don't participate. Is there a chance that number goes up?
Not for us. The way I understand it, it's going to be a third deal. You would hope that most of the counties would participate in it. The recent unfortunate hurricane
something that you're gonna have to have for anything that you do that, you know, you try to get funding, grant, whether it's grants or whatever, you're gonna have to have digital. And this is a pretty good return on $166,000 to get something that's worth a lot more than that.
Again, the Oasis drainage area is about half of our county. Half of it goes that way towards the Oasis, the other half goes to the west and so forth. So this doesn't encompass the entire county, but just kind of the watershed, drainage, whatever stuff on the eastern half of the county. You won't have anything with that.
Not to jump the agenda items, but we got the lower good Monday. That's how is it gonna work hand in glove?
It's not going to work in tandem with them, I think, but at some point they could possibly do the same thing. But that isn't something that they have on their radar, I guess you would say, as far as we know.
So we don't have any kind of proposal from them yet?
No, not for anything like this. And when we've talked to them about it, they haven't indicated they have a plan to do it either. I don't know that they're as, I don't know how to say it. I don't know that they're as eager to get things done as New Oasis River Authority, it seems.
I think the state statute cannot obligate taxpayers money over a year. This would be obligated for 10 years. Correct? And they're changing that?
Yeah, there is provisions for not contracting beyond a certain number of years. I assume it would pertain to this as well. But there is.
Brent, did you talk to us about that at one point?
I believe so.
Was it you? I know somebody mentioned that to us.
Can we discuss I? Go ahead and jump to I and then go back to H.
Did you research that for us?
Yes. Candy was able to attend a meeting with the lower Rio Grande.
Yeah, so here is
We're going to go to I right quick. We're kind of discuss both of them in tandem, H and I.
Mr. Ward had some really great questions after the last commissioner's report,
So this information that I just handed you was from just my notes from a Teams meeting that I attended with the engineering firm that is hired by the Lower Rio Grande flood planning group. And these were some of the things that there was a man and a lady that they both, he didn't do much talking, but she did, about what the information that we have shared with them. So all the work that we had done with HydroLink, the maps that the guy made for us and the reporting and all that kind of stuff. Mr. Dirksen sent that to them and they looked at it. So what they told us in that call was what we got from him was good, but it's one huge project. It's laid out as one huge project altogether. So all the cost, the information is for doing everything. what they would want us to have as far as planning for the future, because probably we wouldn't be doing one huge project at one time, is that we need to have cut it into smaller projects. And so what they're suggesting that we do is request flood management evaluations on projects. And they currently have a deadline of September the 19th to have what they call FMEs, flood management evaluations, submitted to them. And those could be all the information that you need to gather for each of your separate projects could be submitted to them, and then they could be funded by the planning group or possibly the Texas Water Development Board. So that time frame is short to try to get them something, but if we could get them a couple of projects to maybe get the information on what all the information that's needed, maybe we could get a couple of projects in the works. But the biggest thing that she cautioned us about was make sure that your projects that you want to get done are not maintenance. If this is something that should have been happening along the creek, if TCEQ has told you over the years you need to be cleaning out the brush, you need to be taking out whatever it is, and that hasn't been done, that's not a project for them. That's something that should have been happening by the city, by the county, by Fort Clark, by maintaining the Los Morros Creek. But if we have a project, say for instance the retention ponds that were listed in our plan from HydroLink, if that was something we decided we wanted to do and get those in as one project, just that part, then that would be something that we could send and ask for an evaluation on. And then they would evaluate it. And does it cause any kind of downstream impact? What is the benefit cost analysis? So forth and so on. All of that kind of stuff would get done for that one project. And so that's kind of where they led us whenever we visited with them on the phone. Mr. Dirksen mentioned the dams, but I mean, every time we've met with NRCS, they tell us that the dams are not in our purview. That's something that NRCS is in control of. So if they were to say, I guess, come to the county and say we need to do this project, then maybe that would be something we could look at. But when he mentioned the dams, I was like, well, I don't think that's something we can take on. But anything else, along the creek that is mitigation, that would mitigate flooding, if it's the crossings, if we need to do something major with the crossings, that would be another one. And here I think I noted that for mitigation, detention, retention, or diversion were the things that she mentioned in our conversation.
Katie, we need to really clarify that we're only speaking and considering north of Highway 90. That's all we're talking about. And I would more particularly describe it as that area between the dams and Highway 90.
Right.
Because there seems to be confusion generated when we're not specific about what area we're talking about.
Yes.
And I know that the city has been supportive of our efforts to address the issue.
Right.
Again, North
of Highway 90, exactly. Right. So if we want to maybe have a little committee meeting or something where if we want to try to come up with a couple of projects, I feel like we would have to have an engineer to, as far as getting a cost for everything, that kind of stuff. If we could get all of that information to them by the 19th of September, I think that's something that might be helpful. I don't think, after talking to them, that the one big project, doing everything at once, is something that they would even consider putting into the plan. That would, I mean, as we talked about, that would be like, at that time it was like 31 million or something like that. I can't imagine what it would be now, you know. And it will just keep growing. So, I think that would be something that, you know, we should really consider is maybe trying to come up with a couple of projects that we could get the data together in time to get it to them. And this lady that we've been talking to, Ann Whitco, is an engineer, and she's the project lead for them. And she's been very helpful. She's been very open. She's very accepting of questions, anything that we have for them, that kind of stuff. So I just I think she would try to help us if she, you know, if we could get the data to her that they need. So do y'all want to try to maybe have a couple of us get together and
I think it would be a very good idea. I think that both of these items should be discussed further. My opinion, that's just an answer to your question.
Right. I don't know that Travis will know the answer to that. Can we right.
The funding.
Yeah, the funding, you know, having not obligating taxpayer funding out past, I don't know how the other counties are going to do it then. Yeah. So, we'll ask about that and see if that's something else that they have come up against in some of the other counties. I know that there's going to be a lot of counties that jump on that just because, you know, they have a lot of people that are going to be affected by the Nueces River if something, you know, drastic were to happen. So I feel like that it would have to be addressed somewhere. The other thing, and Alma was talking about this, Mr. Ward had questions, and we sent some questions to Ann, and she sent us a response back. One of the questions was, has the information we emailed from the hydrologist been reviewed? And she said, yes, we have reviewed the reports and followed up with Mr. Dirksen. He provided a response and attempted to send us the model files. Unfortunately, some of the files appear to be missing. So she's working with him, trying to get the rest of the shape files, I think is what she called them, that are needed to be able to view things in a certain way that they can see different things that are not just printed on those maps. Then she said, we did notice that some of the proposed projects had impacts that impacts to adjacent project areas. One of the requirements to include a project in the flood plan is that it cannot have impacts on the surrounding area. So some of the projects that were included in what we got they're saying would, and I think the biggest problem they had was, you know, where you had that big diversion channel, and then you cross the road again with those huge culverts, and would have all that water going in. That would cause a huge impact, and that's where whenever Mr. Darkson asked that question the other day, she said that would be a problem, having that much water going back into the river, even downstream, because you still have people that could be affected by it. And I should say, even in a remote area where there's not a whole lot of people, but there are people that could affect. The next one was, will Kinney County be part of your plan? Kinney County will be included in the plan. There are different ways to include your projects given the impact issue discussed in the previous bullet. And that's where she was talking about if we want to make our projects smaller and just do 2 or 3 at a time and try to get those funded. What is the timeline for submission? The draft regional flood plan is due to the state on May the 26th of 2027, and the final plan is due January of 2028. So that's just the regional plan. And that's where we need to have our data and our projects to be able to be included in the state plan. You have to be in the regional first, then it goes to the state. Will you notify us when the plan is submitted? We encourage you to participate in the regional flood planning meetings. So they are having flood planning meetings. I attended one, I think it was on the 16th or something like that. They do them virtually. If you want me to, I can send you the links whenever they're having one, and you're welcome to listen in. But they typically have them quarterly, but they're going to be having them monthly for the next few months, just because they're trying to get a series of things completed so that it can be submitted sometime in January. It has to do with the amendments, I think, which the amendments have already been submitted. Will you be seeking grant funding to address any of the mitigation efforts, mapping, etc.? Her answer to that is no. The regional flood planning effort does not involve submittal of specific project applications for funding. The purpose of submitting projects to our team for inclusion into the regional flood plan and ultimately the state flood plan is so that they are eligible for FIF funding. Flood infrastructure, I think is what that stands for. Projects that are not included in the state flood plan are not eligible for FIF funding. However, if you are interested in pursuing funding through the FIF program, once your projects are included in the state plan, you will need to submit an FIF application. So she's saying everything that's going to be funding related is outside of what they do. So this grant that Travis and Nueces River Authority received is completely outside their flood plan information. It's going to support it, I would think. I don't see how it couldn't, because it's all the Nueces Basin. So, what else should we let the Kinney County Commissioners know? We encourage them to attend and participate in our meetings. It is the best way to get information about the planning process and make sure that your community's needs are properly addressed in the plan. One thing that I put a star by this in the meeting that was mentioned, advantage of mapping. They did talk about mapping at the flood planning meeting that I attended online. It says advantages of mapping. Request will score higher with the mapping already complete for the project area. So if you have mapping in place of your project area, you're going to score high. It's just like all of our grant applications that we have. You score 20 points for this, 30 points for that. And if mapping is one that requires a score, then when you have mapping, that's going to make your project higher on the list. I forgot about them saying that, but that was one thing that they did talk about in that meeting that I attended online. So, there's a lot, I want to say there was probably about 8 or 10 members on that board for the flood planning group, and they're all, I guess because they're closer to the coast and that kind of stuff, they have all their water districts, flood groups. There's a lot of people on that board that are down in the valley. And so for us to really have some representation and consideration, I think that it is going to require for, some of us to really get online, ask questions during those meetings, let them know that people here at the northern end of that group are interested and would like to be considered for having projects and having help getting projects done. So they do. They all have engineers, people that are sitting in with this group that know exactly how to spin a project and, tell them what is needed. And no, we don't have that expertise. So,
give us a couple of dates. Let's try to meet and maybe just prioritize our discussion. Mr. Ward spoke about that early on.
Yeah.
Last year about too much. We got to break it down. But if we broke it down right now, we stay north of Highway 90 and stuff. Creek maintenance is probably out of the question, but we definitely look at some city street crossings and bridges or something.
Yes. Things that would affect flooding, flood mitigation, any kind of project that would be beneficial to that. But again, it's going to have to be done where if we do a whole bunch of work on the north side of Highway 90, is it going to have a downstream effect or impact? That's what we have to be careful of, because if it does, it ain't going to get funded. But we have to be able to show that with our analysis. That's why I feel like we have to have some engineering help with what we send them.
We have a pretty good start with that. From the initial study we're doing from Frerich and those guys, we have a pretty good foundation. It's probably not tweaked like specific, like we did this versus this, affect this versus
right. Yeah,
but we got a pretty good overall big picture.
Right, and it's a great start to say we want to work on getting this flooding mitigation taken care of, and it's just that it's all one big project in that report and all that data, and so breaking it out is gonna require some help.
It's going to be tricky because I don't see how you can do anything upstream to not affect downstream. That's going to be the issue.
Yeah. The only thing I thought about was the crossings, and if we can, help with updating the crossings and not making more water move, then
It's specifically crossings in the city of Brackett.
Right.
North of Highway 90.
Only
Can't
those.
emphasize that too much.
Only those. So, yeah.
And start a plan to maintain this street between the county and the city limit. Do some type of maintenance. I saw when we had that big rain, some comments on Facebook about some flooding on, I think it was Thomas Street, that bridge there. So we need to start working on something. Right. Especially if we can't receive any grant funding for that type of work.
Right, and she did. She said that several times in that phone conference the other day, or that Teams conference the other day. It can't be maintenance. It can't be something. It can't be trimming trees and
Like moving the utility line, removing the bridges and
Well, we would have to remove or updating the utility lines. Would just have to go along with it because they would probably be exposed, but that's not going to have anything to do with flooding. But the bridges, yes. Right, and that would be just kind of like a side thing that we would have to do. That would not be our project because it doesn't have anything to do with flooding. The project would have to do with bridges. And the side effect would be we'd have to update the utility lines. So it's there's a lot of to go yet, I think, but we do need to keep working at it and try to get to a point that we've got to get this, especially this channel, updated.
In the city.
In the city, on the north side of 90.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. So I will see if Travis has had anybody else mention about the obligation of funds for more than a year for the 10-year period, and see if anybody else has had questions about that. I'll try to get in touch with him right now and see if I can get that before we are done.
Yeah.
Any other questions or anything else y'all want us to check on so far? Okay.
Well, my one question is potentially, and I realize maybe a decision hadn't been made about eligible projects. We're talking about the ways what the world, what kind of, hydrology study is fine, but potentially what project could be employed in our county on the ways that you're.
Well, I think
That's my question.
Right. And who knows what could come from what they find. If what they find is we need to add some crossings in areas, then that would be projects that could happen. But it's going to all come from what they find. It's kind of like whenever we did the one with David Barker, the hydrologist, and he said, the dams need to be raised. Our rain data that had been used back in the 60s when they built them or the 50s, was not accurate to now, And so I think if they find that there are some areas that crossings could be beneficial, maybe a dam could be beneficial, I just don't, and that's an area where we just don't have very many people, that it's per capita, it's not going to affect very many. So, I don't really know that you would really get many, unless, like John Paul said, in the next, 10 years, if somebody wants to put a subdivision out there somewhere along the creek, or I should say the creek, the river, the Nueces, and, you would have to have some information for that. So, and, if there was a project and we had it mapped, we would probably get more points for it, and it would be more likely funded that way. So, it's, if we had more community members that were affected, it would probably, I think you could probably come up with more projects that way. Later. That's for the lonely CRA.
Alright. We'll hold off on any action. Item I was just updated information on. Item H, we'll hold off on the action of it to see. Andy will call me if you hear something.
Yes, I'm going to try to authorize right now.
Alright, with that being said, we'll move on to item 5, previous minutes. None, okay. Item 6, departmental budget adjustments. None. Item 7, approved bills and disbursements to the Kinney County Detention Center. We do have one of those for this morning.
I need to get through.
Motion made, approve item 7 by Commissioner Ward, seconded by Commissioner Dotson. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carried 4-0, noting Commissioner Frerich stepped out at 10:35. Jury duty. Grand jury. Hand that one around. Item 8 is ratify and approve all bills and claims, including payroll, for Kinney County Budget 2024-2025. We have those in front of this morning. discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign, motion carried. Alright, discuss other items pertaining to county business. I really don't have none. We'll have a budget workshop Thursday morning at 9 o'clock to see about where we want to cut back, what we want to do. Discuss that, have a kind of preliminary budget on total right now. Looks like health insurance is going to be well quite a bit. It's between 6 and 7%. So that's a big hit for us. We'll discuss that and kind of see where we trend back and go back. That'll be Thursday morning at 9 o'clock to discuss those items amongst the officials. And then who you want to go visit with and cut funding or trim some things back, cut some things out and so forth. That'll be Thursday morning. So at this time, we'll go into executive session. Personnel matters, closed meeting will be held pursuant to 551.074. And personnel matters and issues in executive session also occur 551.071, 551.121. Texas Government Code consultation with the attorney to the court. So we'll call it 10:48. We'll take a little quick break.
Run.